Welcome everybody to Geek Boots Military Nerds. Tonight is our Halloween theme, so if you tune into the YouTube version of the podcast, you will catch me in a mask. That's about
Yay.
as much effort as I could put into it. um,
Oh,
here,
wait.
Geek. Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on.
She's got something. There you go. The laziness factor on tonight's episode. My mask is held on by the strap on my hat. I don't have spirit gum, and I don't feel like rolling up tape to put my mask on my face. So fuck this. We here at Geek Boots like to talk all about the big green weenie and how it likes to continue to fuck us, just like being a slut or a person of ethnicity background in a horror movie during the 1980s.
Or the 1990s.
Or the 1990s, you're
or
right.
the early 2000s.
Or pretty much still to this date.
Suck a fucking dick, motherfucker. Suck a fucking dick.
Motherfucker!
Suck a fucking dick, motherfucker. Suck a fucking dick.
Motherfucker!
Or, yeah. We're
Which I don't understand, because I have to admit, like, in realistic terms, when the black guy looks at the bush that's rustling around, goes, fuck this, and runs away, for all due respect, that guy should be alive. Like, nah, man, I'm good. And the white person, let's go investigate naked with a lot of flashlights and turn our cell phones on full ring. Yeah.
I always tell my best friend that if I was in a horror movie, I would be that first girl that dies at the beginning. Because there was a noise in the woods and I went looking for it. I would make it past the opening credits.
Damn.
It's what I do.
So I didn't throw this into the questions, but I have to bring this up because we're cosplayers. This year, normally I like to dress up because I'm like, look at my costume. It's fucking awesome. I like to brag. This year alone, like, I got a Halloween thing coming up this week, tomorrow, actually, when this episode drops. And I'm like, I don't have the energy to put on a single one of my costumes as proof of my mask being strapped to my face with a hat. I just don't have it in me, and I'm just like, shit. Normally I'd be all revved and jazzed, but I hear a lot of cosplayers like this. What about you? Do you like dressing up still, or are you like, it's Halloween, it's time to take it off?
I tend to go with whatever my kids are doing.
Fair. Oh, okay. Do the family thing, group things.
And so my son told me I had to be Jessie, which I think we've been Toy Story group cosplay or costumes. We're not cosplay when we're for like the last 4 years. So they're different characters. Like, he's going to be Buzz this year. He was Woody last year and 2 years ago.
Nice.
Though we're doing at the zoo, they do Boo at the Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing that on Saturday, where they basically set up a bunch of tents and we go to different tents and they'll give the kids candy and then we get to look at animals and they'll have lights up and everything. Last year, when it came to actually Halloween night, both of them looked outside and they went, I'm going to bed.
And in that moment, they realize what being an adult is all about. I want to stay up for New Year's, but there's this thing called sleep I really enjoy.
It was snowing out last Halloween too, and
it's snowing now.
Yes, it's snowing now. Which is so funny because
live in a snow globe. Like, what the fuck? You just a giant dome where planes and cars are able to transfer through, but it's just concentrated weather in Colorado.
Concentrated weather. I like that. I don't know what it is. It's so weird because then it'll like snow, and then tomorrow it's supposed to be 60 degrees.
Bullshit.
And then it's supposed to snow
I'll believe
again.
it when I see it.
And then it's supposed to snow again next week sometime, and I'm like, the bipolar weather. Like, okay, every state like jokes about their weather.
Yeah.
How their weather changes all the time. I have legitimately never lived in a state where you really cannot dress.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started wearing flannel when I moved to Colorado, not
Mhm.
because I'm an outdoorsy person, but because I needed an extra layer.
Yeah.
Because
I
sometimes
feel
I'll
it.
have a t-shirt on and then a flannel and then a jacket,
Yeah.
and then at some point I'll be back down to the t-shirt and then just the flannel and then back to the jacket. It's so weird.
I learned when I was getting my haircut once upon a time, from this sweet Korean girl. She was telling me about the stuff we were talking about weather, and she told me that the reason why people in Seattle, why you hear so many complaints about the weather, is because like about 75% of the population now in the Pacific Northwest isn't actually from the Pacific Northwest. It's people moving here to live here for like jobs or just because they like the place, and then they'll complain about the weather. And I'm like, that makes a lot more sense now because I'll never hear a freaking complaint from my dad. I'll never hear a complaint from my mom. They'll just be like, "Oh, it's raining."
It's raining
Yeah,
again.
that
It's
like it
raining again.
was, yesterday and the day before, and the day before. Like it's nothing new. Congratulations, it's Washington.
Well,
So
I will say the one good thing about Colorado is even though it snows and it's cold, it's always sunny.
yeah,
And so we have like 363 average of 363 sunny days a year. And so you don't get that like same winter depression you get in like other places that you never see the sun.
right. And then first year I took my nephew out and I had bought my Deadpool cosplay and I was like, I'm gonna show off, I'm gonna look dope, I'm gonna look badass. That was such a bad choice for me because the mask felt like waterboarding. I was drinking more than I was breathing because the mask had gotten so damp in the rain. Lesson to the wise, everybody. Don't actually cosplay in the rain and on Halloween. It's just a bad time.
Well, when I lived in Louisiana, I would wear like shorts and a t-shirt type costume. Just
Hmm.
something easy. And then moving here and it's like, "Oh wait, I can't just wear a costume. I have to figure out how to do layers with it."
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I looked it up and the highs tomorrow or the highs on Saturday is 65 and then the highs on Sunday is 29 and snowing.
well, all right. We came out of a store one day and my girlfriend goes, "It smells like snow out here." And I start sniffing the air and I'm like, "You know how it is when the snow's on the ground and it's snowing, you could smell it's got a distinct smell."
Yeah,
I'm like,
right
"No,
before it
please,
snows.
please don't snow right now. We can't handle that right now." All right. So going on with this, the questions for this episode. The favorite scary movie. I do not have a voice changer, so I'm not about to do Ghostface Killer from the um, fucking Scream movies. But what's your favorite scary movie?
I'm probably going to make us lose like 50 followers all of a sudden because I hate scary movies.
It's fine. I don't like as someone who loves scary movies, I love hearing when people say I don't like scary movies because that just makes me want to show you a scary movie even more.
So
I just don't know. It's just
I mean,
okay. So
it's like when somebody says they don't like Disney. I don't want to show them Disney because then they're gonna hate my stuff. And I'm like, nope, stay away. Go away.
that's different. It's Disney. If you don't have a palate for a good Disney flick, you don't have it. But a scary movie, it's great because like you're trying to get that thrill and rise out of somebody. Like
Okay,
just
the thing
how it
is,
is.
I don't like that feeling of the thrill. Like
Uh,
I don't like roller coasters. That
I'm gonna let everybody know on our next Disney trip. No, I'm just kidding.
that I will watch you guys go up and be like, I'll be on Peter Pan.
You gotta at least try the Cars ride because that ride is not like a roller coaster. It's like being in a car on the ground driving 60 miles an hour around this like race course. It was fantastic. It was the first time I ever done it. I highly recommend. 10 stars. But no, yeah, I don't know what it is. I feel like as a horror movie fan myself, I love getting people to watch a horror movie. And it was funny because
I
like
mean, I've watched them. How do you think I
yeah,
know I don't like them?
right? Well, on top of that, I mean, you got Chucky, You've got your
I've seen
Jason
Chucky.
Voorhees. You know, you've got
I've
all these
seen
cosplays.
Okay, so the Jason one I did because my best friend is a huge
Sure.
horror person, and I was doing with her because she was doing Freddy. Of course,
Yeah.
I got done early so I could do the Friday the 13th prior to the convention we were going to.
Right.
Chucky I did because, again, my best friend was dragging me to a horror convention, and Chucky was like one of the only scary movies
This is
that I
a
was
great
like,
start, by the way. She
"Hmm."
drags me to a lot of things I don't want to go to.
I want to go with her. I very much enjoy being with her, but she'll do princessy things and Disney and she's not girly girl either. It's a trade off. We're a very good trade off between each other. She makes me do horror things. I make her do girly things.
That's good friendship. Okay, but so to the question now, what is your favorite scary movie? The ones that you have watched, what's your favorite scary movie?
Um, hmm. Does it have goosebumps?
Honestly, she's gonna kill me for saying this, but Ruby Echo, my girlfriend, actually hates the episode with Slappy the doll,
Yeah.
the doll, because she hates dolls in general that are like that. So when she saw that as a kid, it freaked her out. No lie, it freaked me out too. But I love that episode. That's like their scariest episode they have. Everything else is just like, oh man, that would suck if I was in that position. Like episode 1 or whatever it was, where the kid put on the mask and he couldn't take it off because he needed a cool mask for Halloween. Like I loved that episode, but I wasn't terrified by it at all. Like,
Well, it's funny because I used to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark with my dad like every day after school, like as a kid.
that's good stuff though.
I know it was, wasn't it? And I read like all the Fear Street books.
Hmm.
I've been and stayed the night in not haunted houses, but like a haunted hospital.
Oh wow.
I've done real ghost walks. I've done that kind of stuff, like the real stuff I really enjoy doing. But
Mhm.
when it comes to jump scare movies, I don't enjoy that adrenaline.
This is another reason why you will love my girlfriend, because as you continuously say every time she gets brought up, she also hates jump scares. In order to block herself, she'll hold her hands over her ears so that it's not as, jumpy. Just-
Well, the problem is with me is I can't like go and then not watch it
yeah.
because then my anxiety will continue this movie in my head, and since there was no ending to it,
Yeah.
I continue
I got to go with Signs. It was hilarious because I love scary movies. A lot of them have scared me. A lot of them have bored me. A lot of them just
scary.
it's got a creepy vibe to it. And when I was a kid, that first scene when he's trying to talk to his daughter, about their mom, and then he looks out the window and you just see this dark, tall figure sitting on the roof of their barn. It freaked me the fuck out. I'm like, what the shit was that? Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. And then it continued this really creepy, eerie vibe. And the next scene that really got me was he's sitting in the closet, why I don't know, under the stairs, and he's watching TV, and the kids are, all yelling and screaming. It's behind, and the alien comes out from the shadows, and you get a full glimpse of it. Dude, I was out of my seat, just like Walking Phoenix was, going, holy shit! And then, of course, when they're in the dark cellar, and the kid's up against the, that shaft area, and there's the hand and you don't see it at first before it finally grabs him. That scene scared the shit out of me too. Like, yeah, it scared the fuck out of me. I don't know why. I'm fascinated by aliens. And yeah, like zombies don't scare me at all. Give me a gun, give me a sword, let's go ham. But aliens, nope, I'm fucked. I have to hunker down somewhere, get a CB radio.
If they've made it here, they're way smarter than us.
Fuck
We
yeah.
haven't gone anywhere.
To be fair, I feel like if aliens got here and saw what was going on, they'd say, "Fuck this shit" and leave. Like if they just took one look at us, they'd be like, "Nah, I'm good, fam. I'm done."
See, I like a good mystery though, like a murder mystery.
Oh yeah, for sure. What was the last one I watched? That one that was on the train that had Daisy Ridley in it. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was like set in like the 1940s, 1930s, something like that.
No, but it sounds
Uh,
like something I'd
It
like.
was it was amazing because you did not know who the killer was, and it wasn't until the end, and you know how it always transpires. And there's a detective, but I guess he's retired and he's ex-military and he's got all these accommodations, and you know this one cop is sitting there going, I mean, we have a problem, and I know you're not exactly in the mood for this right now, but there's been a murder on the train, and you're kind of the only hope we have. And he's like, God damn it.
I feel like that's how doctors feel when somebody collapses in front of them.
Yeah, right. Fuck.
I have to
Like,
work.
nurse, come over here. You do stuff. I'm off the clock now. Bye. Goodbye.
You're never off the clock when you're medical.
That's so true. Halloween traditions. Um, I used to have Halloween traditions. Now it's I need to put a sign in front of my door to get people to leave me alone because I want to go to sleep. Or now more-a-days it's I want to do horror movie marathons. Like last year, that Netflix series that had come out, that Haunted Mansion series, where all the parents are dead and the surviving kids all have a certain particular haunt that's attacking them, and the only way to stop it is just to go back to the mansion essentially. It was something about that. It was a fantastic, really creepy vibe, fantastic horror show. When one of the siblings died, they kept panning the camera around and doing a circle of the scenery, and every once in a while you'll see the person who died sitting in the corner dressed all in black, and it just freaked me out. And I'm like, no, 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 no! Everybody look, everybody run, go, go, go! It's fucking great. I don't know what that was, but okay. What about you? Halloween traditions? Considering you're
uh,
a mom, you probably have the basics.
I mean the trick or treating things, but I'm not. Halloween was never. Yeah, we went trick or treating as a kid, so I never really had like a thing. I mean, once I became more of an adult and I got addicted to Nightmare Before Christmas, that kind of became like the thing to watch because I remember with my oldest, well, today is his birthday, so so 1 week from now is Halloween, and we stayed in the hospital. He was in the NICU, so we stayed in the hospital. So we're still in the hospital for Halloween, and I dressed him up anyways, and I have pictures of him on the hospital bed and in a little tiger costume. But I like to dress up. I like to dress them up. They don't really like to dress up that much, so the older they get. But I was sitting in the hospital room with like my phone trying to watch Nightmare Before Christmas from like some bootleg copy on YouTube because it wasn't
Remember
on
when
anything.
YouTube was able to do that? Like people slid it in by putting it into like parts, like
Frame.
15-minute parts or something. Yeah, and they would change the name, they would change the rate of the frame of it, so that like they're like, see, it's not copyright. I'm changing it a little bit. Sweet, I can watch movies for free.
It was like the worst copy ever.
Oh god, it
And I
was
was like,
so
I
bad.
own 3 copies of this at home. Why am I watching them?
Handycam stuff back then was so pixelated and awful. It was like trying to watch porn back in the day when it used to be on TV. Like, oh, I think I see a nipple. Like it was bad. Nowadays, when people do Handycam, it's like, wow, this is HD. Yeah, because our phones are HD now, so it's totally fine. You just have to get over the fact that people are probably, yeah,
strapped to the
like
front of their shirt or on their hat. This is
exactly.
wearing a hat.
And then I find it hilarious. My dad worked in an ICU for like 30 years. And much like how we do whenever we're responding or reviewing a movie that has like prominent military vibes to it, my dad would always comment every time in a horror movie. He goes, why is the hospital empty? That's not how that works.
Funny, my mom's a labor and delivery nurse, so she's
Every time.
except she's still obsessed with all those like hospital TV shows, Grey's
Sure.
Anatomy and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think it's to make fun of them. I don't know.
That or just apply a creepy vibe. Like, there's nothing scarier than being in a place that you think is supposed to be safe and secure, and the cop's dead, the nurse isn't around, and apparently all of the other rooms that should
Some-
have patients don't have patients in them anymore.
Somebody is like open on the operating table, nobody around.
Nobody around. Nothing. Cool. See how it is. The fuck?
Z.
Your go-to horror genre. Like, if you gotta watch a horror movie, what kind of genre do you prefer?
Well, I would have to stick with like more the mystery type if I'm gonna go that way because I like to follow like
Get you thinking. Do some creepy.
yeah. Plus,
like
it's not about the jump scare; it's more about the
Creepy
thought
vibes.
process. Yeah, the vibe.
Yeah.
Like it took me a really long time to watch Stranger Things because everyone was like comparing it kind of like to horror.
Horror nostalgia, if anything, because they're taking
Yeah,
some
it's more like
elements
80s
like
horror.
80s horror movies, but it's like it's more of a God, how do I describe? How does one describe
I
Stranger
think
Things?
it's more of a mystery suspense type.
Mystery, suspense, nostalgia porn.
Yes. Yes.
Because when my dad watched season 2, he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember when malls first got introduced. That's exactly how it was. Everyone was there." For
Yeah.
me, oh god, honestly, I gotta go with supernatural stuff. Demonic possession, ghosts. Ghosts are the go-to. Ghosts are always fun because, yeah, there's jump scares, but ghosts.
I mean, I like the movie Ghost.
Yes, doesn't qualify. It's not so much the jump scares; it's more of the elements of the supernatural that they add to it. There's so much more involved in the details of the supernatural movies with ghosts. Demons scare me because, as a Christian faith, that's why I'm scared of that shit. Like, when I first watched The Exorcist, after watching the movie, and yeah, of course, as a kid, I was scared as all hell. Then my dad had to tell me that, by the way, it was based off a real event. I'm like, I'm sorry, the fuck did you just tell me?
Oh, and like like Amityville horror too.
Exactly. Essentially, the only thing that they had changed with The Exorcist apparently was the gender of the victim. It's the girl in the movie, but it was a little boy in the actual events. I was like, holy shit, that's some fucked up shit. So
I'm pretty sure pea soup didn't come out of his mouth though.
No, just regular vomit. And it probably didn't projectile vomit 10 feet.
No, it probably just trickled down his face and then
Trickled down his face, or at least projectiled into his lap where he's laying down. Yeah, I can see that.
Hollywood liberties.
Right.
He just had the flu.
He had the flu. We didn't know what to do, so we called in a couple of priests. He's much better now.
It ran its course.
It ran its course.
15 days later, he was good.
Right. Favorite horror character? So like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, It, Pennywise, It.
I love Chucky. Like, I love Chucky. He's the cutest little thing like ever. And everybody thinks I'm weird because I think he's adorable. And I remember what doll he came from, and I had the girl version of the doll that he was like based off of. He was based off of My Buddy.
Right, I remember that.
And I had a kid sister who looked identical to him, except she had long hair. Because that's how they made toys in the 80s.
Right. I really respected the hell out of the original one for sure. And then they made the remake.
Yeah, 1 and 2 were fine.
when they came back to it with
Three-
Cult of Chucky, because there was a couple of movies that they did, and I'm just like, what the hell am I
the
watching?
ones that are like the background. Okay, because there's like three that are really good and in a trilogy, and
Yeah.
then there's like two that are kind of in the background that don't like follow that.
Right, like the soldier one,
Yeah,
the soldier who
and
gets
those-
the doll. It's like, what?
Not good. Those are not
Just
good.
shoot the doll in the face. You're a soldier. What the hell are you doing? What the fuck is wrong with you?
It's a doll.
It's a doll, but it's possessed by the spirit of the murderer. So essentially, if he shot the doll in the head, he would die. His spirit would have to find another vessel, but he'd be fine.
Except they did like, put him through a chipper, like a wood
Well,
chipper.
sure, but then they had to put him back together and summon him back. That's what happened. As crazy as that fucking shit was.
Because
No.
that's what we do.
And then Cult of Chucky wasn't bad. I actually really liked Cult of Chucky. It brought back a really good detailed version of the whole thing. And then that movie, the one that they did where they were in the insane asylum, that one was really fucking good. I like that. And then they remade Child's Play with the AI in it, and I'm like, what? And the only thing I liked out of it, honestly, was the watermelon. And Mark Hamill did a fantastic job voicing Chucky. He really did. He did a fantastic job. You've seen it, right? You know what I'm talking about when
The
I
newest
reference.
one? No, I haven't. I have not.
You have to see it, and then you'll never be able to look at a watermelon the same way. That's
Okay.
all I can say.
I was like, a couple I have not seen.
It's really
The only one I haven't
it's
seen.
not that scary because I feel like with horror movies trying to do the whole technological angle, like social media horror movies, like Unfriended, you'll die, blah blah blah. They're not as scary. I don't know why. I mean, I get why they're trying. So many people are in social media, so to make something horror
You have to make
with
it relate
social
to
media,
people.
you have to make it relate. So it totally makes sense. But at the same time, I'm just like, okay, you're trying too hard, and it's not scary for me. And that's exactly what this one did. It was more of if there was something painful to watch, it made you kind of wince. Like I will say this:
It's painful, but go watch it.
there's a drone, and he attaches razor blades to the propellers. So I'm like, fuck that. I already don't want to put my hand near a fan. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? For me, favorite horror character. Oh God. That's really difficult. I would have to say I gotta chalk it up to. I gotta chalk it up to Jeepers Creepers, the Creeper in Jeepers Creepers. Because
yeah, he is. Yeah, I've seen that one.
the first two movies in that movie were not only fantastic, especially the sequel. The second one, they just upped their ante on that movie.
Okay,
But
the first one.
Oh, the second one's so much better.
I couldn't go back.
There are reasons for that. It's just the fact that there's this demon walking around on Earth and he digests organs to survive. I was just like, holy shit.
And the entire town is just like, let's do it.
Yeah, right?
Let's not take care of this problem. Let's just do it.
Never.
Let's just feed him. It'll be fine.
No, they don't. Well, they don't even really feed him. Like, I don't know how, but I mean, maybe it's because they're in a small town, kind of
They just
countryside.
send random people to their
But
death.
it's what is it? It's every 23 weeks after 23 years he gets to feed on us, and I'm just like, all right, America's been around for a couple hundred years. How do you not notice when these kind of deaths start taking place? What the fuck are you doing with your life?
There's like so many like criminal analysis in the world where they would be like, wait.
They would have investigators on that in the early 1800s for sure. Like, you can't tell me that's not what's gonna happen.
There were, but they got fed to them.
Yeah, there you go.
People are like, did that person go investigate something? No, I went on vacation.
They went on vacation.
He's tired of living with us. He's gone.
Favorite horror director?
I don't really know directors, so
I gotta
case in,
go.
case in point. No, case in point. I was dating this guy when I was in college,
Hmm.
and he introduced himself to me with like this name where he was like, "Hey," hey, and I looked at him like he was an idiot because I was blank faced. And so then we were out with a group of friends, and I was like, "Yeah, this is my friend Wes," and he's like, "Yeah, Wes Craven." And everybody at the table laughs, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" There's words, so
There's words. There's words being said, and I don't know what they mean.
I don't get it. I don't get this. Never
Um,
out with me again. I don't understand.
date over.
Date was over.
I gotta
He's never
go.
come back.
I personally gotta go with Sam Raimi. Because one of the very first horror-esque things I ever watched when I was a kid was Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell. So I have nothing but respect and love for Sam Raimi because he was able to take a very tight budget film and do fantastic low budget effects. Like when the hand's been cut off and it's running across the floor. Turns out in the behind the scenes, they loosened the floorboard. He was in the basement, put his hand on the floorboard like that, and then just walked and did that with the hand. I'm like, all right, that's some crafty shit right there.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love Sam Raimi and everything he does. I'm so sad that people hated him for Spider-Man 3, but at the same time, I mean,
As an artist,
can't
not
blame him.
everything you can do
Yeah,
can be a winner.
exactly. And
It
on
just
top,
doesn't happen.
he was forced to do it by Sony anyway, so it's not his fault.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm contracted to it, so we're just gonna do this for shits and giggles.
But even still, even if he was like, okay, I've been contracted, I don't really want to do this, but I'm gonna try my best.
And yeah, and he tried his damn near best, even though he hated the characters that were forced upon him. Unlike the director of the Fantastic Four movie that had came out last, because that guy literally after the premiere went out on Twitter and apologized, saying, "I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm sorry." I'm like, why would you release a movie then? Like, what is wrong with you?
At least just stop yourself and go. Just
Stop
stop.
yourself, be like, I need help.
Get a little help here. Please, somebody tell me something about this.
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh god, well, all right, that's great. We are now shifting gears, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to start talking about Joker, because thank God, out of the people in this podcast, the two of us have at least seen it now. We will give our spoiler-free review, and then we're gonna jump into the spoiler territory because we've been promising you guys for a Joker review for a couple of weeks now, so got to get on top of it. So spoiler free.
I was like, do we do spoiler free at this point? It's been out for a few weeks, like a month now.
People are releasing like handy cam footage without a fuck to give at this point either, too.
I mean, we could say that we're going straight into.
Yeah, all right. Well, fuck it.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, nobody needs a spoiler free one because those are all over the internet already.
Yep. It's been a couple of weeks. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, this is your opportunity to get the fuck off our show. Like we always say, deuces. So Joker. I'm gonna do this a little bit backwards because I had it written down for questions differently. Favorite scene. It's small, but my all-time favorite scene is when he's walking down the hallway and he gets into the elevator. Because right before the door shuts, he smiles. He gets like a half crook smile on the left part of his face, and I'm just like, aw, shit, it's going down. Like, but ultimately, that whole entire movie was fantastic. Oh, Jesus Christ. I would love to go see that movie more times if I had the opportunity and the money. What about you?
My favorite scene is probably when he is sitting in his neighbor's apartment.
Ooh, yeah, and you realize, oh, hey, by the way, all this time they've been together has been in his head,
None of this is real. You're
right?
watching an entire movie where half of it isn't actually happening.
Right? Yeah, oh God, adding on to that, what I loved about that too is when he exits the room, that deep, just really ominous music they start playing right after that, and it just leaves you going, okay,
What just
why?
happened?
What just happened? What
Is
happened
she
to
still
her?
alive?
Is she still alive? Because you don't see her for the rest of the movie. What? Like, yeah, it was fucking
No, they do
insane.
not let you know anything about her. And you're like,
Yup,
I got attached.
I got attached. Oh, Jesus, God, that was something else. Let me tell you, I was like, oh my God, what just happened? Um, I rate the movie 10 for 10. I honestly love that movie so much that I would even go so far as to say I loved it more than Endgame.
Well, you gave it a high rating, so that's that. I'm gonna see with me, like it was a very good movie. Don't get me wrong. I loved the movie. Everything was great. It's not something I'll ever watch again.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but when the
I'm
media goes
glad I
out
watched
there,
it.
when the
I'm
media,
glad.
it really got to me when the media was really trying to project this movie as like, this is, don't go see this movie, it'll project blah, blah, blah. They went on to like say that there was a police investigation at a movie theater because two people had an argument in the theater and wouldn't shut up, and they were escorted out of the theater room. That's all that happened. But CNN, Fox News, all these guys are like, Joker making controversy as police had to go into the theater. I'm like, wow, it's
Clickbait.
really not that serious. God.
Like I comment randomly on your Facebook pages, satire.
Right.
You're
No,
like, oh,
I know.
oh,
I
but you're
know.
trying to get a rile out of people, and I just have to throw you under the bus.
And I fucking love that too. The DD214 and this one person comments going, "We need to ban these." I'm like, okay, hold on, wait. Like if that was real, I would have been like, can you not ban a DD214? I kind of need mine for certain things.
A little bit. A little bit.
I'm just saying. Oh, internet, you motherfucker. Um,
You try though. You try to get people riled up.
you
So you're
really,
just as bad as clickbait some days.
yep, yep. I try. It's like in Deadpool 1. I don't take the shit squeeze. I just disturb them. You know, it's just I like stirring the pot. And then like the
Well,
one that
there's
the
been a
one
few
that gets me the most, the one that got me the most was when I posted randomly about how drink a beer in with your dog day. It's not really an actual holiday. I just wanted to share with all your friends. 3 people come out of nowhere going, "But you don't drink though." And I'm like, "Why is that your takeaway? Who the fuck cares?" What? I can play with my
then
dog and hold a beer in my hand. I don't give a fuck. Fuck
could be
you.
root beer.
Yeah, could be root beer. Could be anything I want, motherfuckers. Like, I was just like, what the fuck? Some like that's what triggered you about my shit posting was that I don't drink. Okay, good
Yeah.
for you guys.
There's been a couple times I go to respond to you and I get like an entire paragraph done and I go, wait, this is the internet. I am not required to
Put
respond
energy.
to every to everything I'm invited to.
Like I sometimes post the stuff because it makes me laugh and I'm trying to make my veteran friends laugh, whenever they do a difference between veteran and civilian. And my buddy had to message me going, those offend me because I'm a civilian. And I'm sitting here going, I love you, I love civilians, but these things do make me laugh because I see them in my own perspective every fucking day. I'm
Well,
just saying.
well, to be fair, some of them offend
Be
me and I'm
fair.
military, so
Right.
and I'm like, that's not right. No, that is it's not right. Never mind.
Yep, I know it's not right.
I'm like, you're not an idiot.
There was this moment at Disneyland though when Ruby and I were together, and we were posting a combined album, and she was getting more likes and loves on her every time she would share the photo that we took together. And I'm just sitting here going, why do more people like your posts than mine? And she just hit me with the truth bomb, and she goes, I mean, all day long you post memes and jokes to just stir shit. I wouldn't be surprised if people muted you by this point and they don't actually see your posts anymore. And I go, you right, you right, you right. Circling back now to Joker.
Joker, yes.
Yes.
I told you it's me on this episode.
It is.
I'm like the derail train.
Just like Joker, this episode goes off the rails. You should cosplay Joker now. Perfect.
I have a Joker.
There you go. She's not here yet, Paul. Okay, so theories, because there's so many things to talk about. The way that certain scenes were so fluid with one another, it really begs the question of what's real and what's not real. I stated in a previous post.
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I think that, for me personally, I think the things that really did happen, God, I would definitely say killing his mom in the hospital.
Yes, killing his mom definitely happened.
Killing his mom in the hospital. I would also say the subway murders.
Yes. Well, those were all over the news. So
Right, those were all over the news. I would also say, what was the other one that had happened? Shooting his friend, I think actually happened. Where it happened, I'm not sure. But also, honestly, the show with Murray. I think that ultimately is the biggest reason why he's in the insane asylum. I think that's the big reason why.
Yeah.
But I mean, how he gets apprehended, who the fuck knows? I honestly think he got apprehended because he was probably just went all the way to prison. He didn't even get stopped. Like, he fantasized being rescued by his people.
Yeah, because at the end with the footprints, and I think he was still in his.
Yeah, there's certain things that Ruby Echo picked up on that I didn't until the second time watching it, actually. There's these subtleties to the scene and the setting. So every time he's in the apartment with his mother, the tile and the way the walls look match that of the psych ward. The clocks all have 11 on them. Things like that. So there are certain things where it's just like, maybe those were all in his head. So, but God, when Joaquin Phoenix came out on Jimmy Kimmel, he had actually stated very clear to Jimmy Kimmel that he is more interested in hearing what people think. And I really respect that, because it's a lot like Quentin Tarantino, where people ask him, for instance, Pulp Fiction, every time they would open up the suitcase and the gold light would hit the guys in the face. What's in the suitcase? And Quentin Tarantino goes, no. You tell me what you think's in the suitcase. That's the point of my art. I want to know how it makes you feel. So I really respect that, but so many people have asked and had so many theories that the director actually came out and said, at some point, after enough time has passed, we're going to just talk about how we were filming the scenes and let you know what we were trying to depict. That way you can kind of, match. Yeah, exactly. So I'm very excited to own this DVD, this Blu-ray, and play the movie, but with director and actor commentary during the whole thing. I'm so excited for this. People, I don't know why, but people were trying to go on and on about the sign, that he had stole the sign and that he actually did steal a sign and it's somewhere in his apartment. And I'm like, I don't agree with that, because they straight up slammed that against his face and it shattered and splintered. I don't think he stole a sign at all, because
no, I think he left it there.
I think honestly that was one moment where it was real, that before he gets thrown in the slammer.
Yeah.
Because it was just one of those moments where society's kind of coming down on him. There are certain scenes that I think that have to be real, because he had to have snapped. for him to be in the psych ward. Now, from the beginning, no. I think these are all, for the most part, random moments, and he's just remembering them.
Or he's
Because
talking about him to his.
yeah, exactly. Because the start of the movie, they reference the fact that he was in at one point already, and he's bashing his head against the window of his door. I'm like, all right, somebody who bashes their head against the window of their door doesn't just get to leave on good merit. So I don't know what you've been
I
smoking.
mean, eventually, but they don't keep people forever.
Like, so yeah, there's so many theories, and of course, it's a great movie about bringing awareness to mental health, how we should take it more seriously. But I have to admit, when people sit there and they say that they're afraid people will be inspired by Arthur, I go, that can't be true, because whether it was um, his interviews with his doctor, his therapist, or straight up expressed who about himself on the Murray show. What do you get when you cross a mentally, and he goes on his tangent before shooting him?
Mm-hmm.
Arthur has expressed that he is not mentally okay. He is not healthy. So for anybody to say that, oh, I totally get it, my response is, you shouldn't get it. You do not have these 7 different things that he's got checked off on his psych, which I also want to say that is a nod to the comics. There was something about in the comics where he's got 7 different psychosis, not pills, that medication he's taking. He's got 7 different things that they've checked off, and apparently it's still counting, to the point that there's not a clinical name for what he has, so they just call him super sanity. It's cheesy, it's corny, and it sounds really stupid, but that's what the comics describe him as, that he is so crazy, he's super sanity. And I'm just like, that's interesting. But I like that nod in the comics, though.
He's got
Yeah.
multiple personality disorders.
Multiple personality disorders, fantasizes very vividly. I don't know what the hell that's called. I had to take a minute and think about myself for a second, because when he fantasized about being on the Murray show, I go, uh-oh. I think about that constantly. But it's more of a, like, God, how cool would it be to be on, like, Conan or Jimmy Fallon?
Well, a part of that is normal.
Yeah.
You envision yourself in a place you want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
That is fairly normal.
I hope. Because otherwise I'm fucked.
I mean, we all have slight problems, but yeah, he's got a bunch of problems.
Yeah. What about you? What theories do you have about Joker, other than what you've already said?
Other than what we've already talked about, I'm not really sure.
I like that most people, just like this conversation, most people have the same theories. Again, further reason why I can't wait for the director commentary on the movie, because I want to know how right all of us are, or maybe we're all wrong and this wasn't really in his head. All of what you saw actually happened. Of like, oh shit.
Well, so do you think the adoption papers are real or not? Do you think he is the child of?
That's a pretty interesting question, because that could have been a moment that actually happened for him at the ward. Like, we don't know how many times he's had moments of escape, because let's be honest, at the end of the movie, he killed his therapist very easily and walked out dancing with blood-stained footprints down the hallway. As far as I'm concerned, there could have been multiple moments when he escaped.
Or even he was at the institution when he got those records. So were they giving him real ones? Were they giving him doctored ones? Was that part of his therapy to see them and for them? And was that something that the Waynes had doctored to make him crazy that he was adopted? Or does he believe his mom?
They paint a very negative image over the Wayne family, unfortunately, because in all of DC Comics, Thomas Wayne was not only a doctor, he did want to run for office because he wanted to take care of people. That's why he invented the subway railing system, because it
Well,
was free, I guess, in the comic books so that people could take it to get to work. He wanted to help people out because he really got tired of seeing the poverty. So,
I don't necessarily think they painted him as bad. I
oh,
think
I'm just
he
saying
was
that.
a politician and people were seeing him as people see politicians that they don't
Sure.
agree with. We just happen to see this side of the tracks instead of this side that he's actually talking to.
Yeah. I think that scene was played differently in Arthur's head. I think that his little conversation or what have you with that guy back there could have been a little different, or he could have escaped, grabbed some clothes to disguise himself, and wanted to look at his files.
Yeah.
Um, I think that I think it's totally possible um, to make it a hereditary thing for a mental illness, especially the way it was depicted how his life had lived as a child, being abused. But
Well, but either
yeah,
way we go, where he's got kind of mental illness by genetics, where that is his real mom, or the fact that he didn't have a chance to form a bond with anyone as a newborn, which would also cause some type of mental problems because you don't have that clear cut newborn attachment that you need.
sure, yeah,
And then being abused on top of that.
yeah.
Because
I
one doesn't necessarily lead to mental problems. You'll probably have something you have to deal with in your adulthood, but usually a little easier to backpedal by being adopted. You'll have some type of,
yeah, I
but
think.
not anything that grand.
But no, I stick with my guns. I say that it happened. I just think that it didn't happen the way the story told, because
Well,
this
I'm
whole
not
entire
questioning the fact that he saw these records that says he was adopted. What I want to know is whether you think that they were real records or they were doctoring records, as in that's his mom and his dad is.
that's a really good question that I haven't thought about. I don't have an answer for that. I have to
That's
watch it again and think about it.
that's kind of the discussion I've had with this movie is whether or not that part is real, or whether he's seen it or not is not but whether he really is part of that family, because
Yeah.
that would be kind of cool. I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, that would make for a reason, why he's not been murdered quickly. And
Well, and in conclusion with Joker in the news, apparently Jared Leto is upset with the success of Joaquin's Joker movie. Apparently he's bowed out. He said, "I don't want to play Joker anymore." And I'm like, hate him or love him, but that's fine and all. Can we make Joaquin the official Joker of the DC Entertainment Universe now, then? Because that performance was fantastic. um, yeah, overall, absolutely love this movie.
to me, though, the Joker changes, like his personality and who he becomes changes after he becomes the Joker.
Oh, sure. Like the way I depicted it was when
Like,
once he put on the makeup and started going down the stairs and the song was blasting, you suddenly saw this level of confidence in Arthur that you've never seen before. It was fascinating to watch that demeanor change and shift, because he's put on this mask, he's put on these clothes, he's walking around going, "I've got a mission, I'm gonna fucking do it, and it's gonna be great."
Hmm.
So
well, I
yeah,
think the first time when he kills those kids, you get that, you see it, and then it's gone.
which, by the way, that whole entire thing would have been a totally different story if Arthur had said, "Yeah, I killed those guys in the subway, comma, they were beating me to death on the floor of the subway." it was self-defense.
Well, the
Would
third
have
guy
been a
was
different
self-defense.
picture. Well, yeah, the third guy was a different story, but those
The
first two
two, though.
shots, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but that would have been a way better conversation. If I was Murray, I would have been like, "Oh, I am so sorry that happened to you." I mean, from the way the police records are, though, you didn't have to kill the third guy in the steps, and that would have led into Arthur going, "They were bad men, Murray. They deserve to die." I was just like, which I guess a lot of people are theorizing that maybe it wasn't self-defense. Maybe he wasn't getting beat up on. Maybe he just outright shot them.
Been all in his head.
Yep, maybe he just outright shot them.
He was imprinting that earlier moment, getting beat by.
It's kind of the notion of everyone's the hero of their own story and everyone has a villain to their own story. So he just took it to the extra mile because, gunning them down and pretending to be a victim.
Yeah.
So, all in all, absolutely loved Joker.
I was really kind of disappointed that he wasn't the murderer of the Waynes.
Well, it's been stated even in comic book history that the Joker.
I know, but it's a different movie, and I kind of wanted it.
Well,
I mean, they have to die. They have to die. Well, they do.
I mean, okay, well, hold on though. Maybe he did do it.
That's true.
Because at the end of the movie, a close-up shot of the parents dead and Bruce sitting there in the alleyway, and he's chuckling, and the therapist goes, "What's so funny?" And he looks over at her and he goes, "You wouldn't get it." So for all we know, maybe he did in fact kill them.
Yeah, instead of this rando clown in the.
Yeah, like he stood up, let everybody love on him, and then he walked around while everyone was doing their thing, looked down the alleyway and said, "Hey, bam, bam." Because, he wanted to kill Thomas Wayne for so long. He was angry with him. So, hey, why not? Fuck this guy. So.
Well, he thinks that's the reason why his mother lied to him, and he thinks that's the reason why his mother was dead. So. Not that he murdered her or anything.
Boom. we got a new theory for everybody. Maybe Arthur did do it. Boom. You heard it first on Geek Boots, hopefully.
we're like 20 people have been talking about it, and we have no idea because
I'm not about to listen to 20,000 other motherfuckers trying to do the same thing. Well, that concludes this episode. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. As always, we're gonna do these shout outs. So Emerald City Comic Con, three of us for sure are coming. J4 just got home, so he was unable to purchase his badges, but I got him a badge in the event he decides to come to the panel at least. We'll see what happens. Because, I mean, it's Jake, and I love him to death, and if I was him, I probably wouldn't feel right going to a con without my family. So, it's just me. Then after that, we got WonderCon, big military meetup. Portraits and Cosplay, Alan and I are talking very closely about making meetups in both Emerald City Comic Con and WonderCon. So if you're a fan of the show, get ready to go to WonderCon if you can't go to Emerald City.
Yes.
Then we got Fleet Week. Fleet Week. Yep, Fleet Week. We got a booth set up at Fleet Week. We'll have t-shirts and prints available. So that's going to be a fun time. And I think that's it.
Fun times had by all.
For now. Yeah, I think that's it for now. We want to go to SoldierCon, but I have no idea when or where they'll be.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. Hit the bell button to get notified for when we got other episodes up. Hit the subscribe, obviously. Hit that like button. Comment with your thoughts on Joker. Comment with your favorite Halloween pastimes. And hit like and follow on all our social media. I am your host, Tom Cruise Cosplay. With me tonight is the lovely, fabulous cosplay Jenemy. Words are hard.
Those are a lot of spoonerisms right there.
Yeah, I know, right? I was gonna say fantastic and fabulous at the same time, and went blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure people will enjoy that. Yeah, catch us in November as we start the road to Star Wars, and it'll be the finale of this year because obviously the month of December everybody wants to be with their families, so that's what's up. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.